Hi, so we're going to be looking at finding the area of a triangle, but in this instance, we're going to do so when given two sides and the angle between it. So, we'll start here. I'm given a triangle with side 2 inches and 7 inches, and the angle between it is going to be 38 degrees. Well, how would I find the area of this triangle? Well, we know the area of the triangle is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. Okay, we know that for a fact. We've talked about that before. You probably have seen it even before that. So we would need to find the height of this triangle because we have the base is 7. Well, if I drew my height straight down, it would have to be perpendicular to that base, meaning it would have to form a right angle. And so this would be my height. And I don't know how it splits this base though. So how am I going to find the height? Well, I could use some trigonometry because this is a right triangle. This splits this into two right triangles. And one of those right triangles, I know enough information to find the height. So the height is h. I know that this is 2 inches, and I know this angle is 38 degrees. Okay, so based off that, how could I find the height? Well, if I remember from my right triangle trigonometry, I have an angle given, and I'm looking for the opposite side, but I know the hypotenuse. So based on this angle, I have information, or I want to find information about the opposite, and I have the hypotenuse. Well, which trigonometric function uses opposite and hypotenuse? That's right, sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. So this means that sine of 38 degrees is going to be equal to opposite over the hypotenuse. So the height over the 2 inches. Okay, well, how can I find the height now? That's right, I can multiply both sides by the 2 inches. And so I would get that the height is going to be 2 times sine of 38 inches. And it will be inches as my units of measurement. Okay, well, I already knew the base was 7, so I have enough information now in order to find the area. So area would be 1/2 the 7 inches times the height, which we now know is the 2 times sine of 38, and that's also in inches. Okay, so what can I do here? Well, now I can multiply this out, and I end up with 7 times sine of 38 degrees, of course, times the 2 times the 1/2, of course, as well. And then I get approximately 4.31 inches squared, because inches times inches would be inches squared. Okay, so we were able to find the height. Well, let's look at what we used in our result. We had 1/2, which was given to us, 7, the base, and then we had 2 sine of 38. Well, what was the other information given to us for this triangle? That's right, it was 2 and 38. So we used everything that was here in our final equation. This must mean then that there's a formula that we could always use when given two sides and the angle between it. And there is. And that is, the area is 1/2 the product of the two sides given and sine of the angle between it, which I'll call theta in this case. So the area will always be 1/2 the product of the two sides given times sine of the angle between them, every single time. So let's look at another example of this, shall we? And this time we won't derive the formula, we'll just use it. So I'm going to erase here, so pause if you need to. Okay. So this time, let's look at an obtuse triangle, which the angle is 100 degrees, and this is 7 centimeters, and this side is also 7 centimeters. So it'll be an obtuse isosceles triangle. Okay, we could find a third side using log cosines if we wanted to, but that's not what we're interested in this video. We're interested in finding the area. So how would we find the area? what could we do? Oh, that's right. We just derived a new equation. Area, or a new formula. Area equals 1/2 the product of the two sides times sine of the angle between them. Area equals 1/2 times the product of the two sides times sine of the angle between them. So that means it's going to be 1/2 7 centimeters times 7 centimeters times sine of 100. Okay? Okay, so how do I do that? Well, I could just plug that into my calculator from here. So I get 1/2 times 7 times sine of 100 degrees. And I get that this is approximately 24.128 centimeters times centimeters gives me centimeters squared. Well, that was a lot faster than having to find out, hey, what's the height going to be by using the right triangle trigonometry? I can go straight to using this formula. It's not necessary for you to remember this formula, though, because you have the knowledge and the experience using right triangle trigonometry, using the sine function in order to solve for a missing side. So you don't have to memorize this, but you can add it to your repertoire quite easily. All right. But what if the angle that's given is not the one between them? What if it's one of the ones that's opposite of the side? So if the angle that was given was here, how would I find the angle that's between it? That's right, you can use law of sines. Because if you're given this angle and this side, you can find this angle because you're given that side. And then you can just subtract those two from 180 to find the one between them. So this is something that you can always use if you're given two sides in any angle, honestly. Okay. All right, well, that's how you find the area of a triangle when given two sides and the angle between it. You take 1/2 the product of the two sides times sine of the angle that's between them. Now, what if we're not given any angles, but we're given all three sides? We're going to look at that next. I'll see you soon.